the next leader of the Liberal Party of Canada will be Michael Ignatieff. The race to replace Stéphane Dion as Liberal leader took a last dramatic turn today when Bob Rae, the only other candidate in the race, announced he was bowing out. Here's part of what Bob Rae had to say earlier today in Ottawa.
Of course, there are some who will be disappointed with this decision and who would have liked the contest to continue. But I'm asking them and all Canadians to recognize that we cannot always control the flow of events. And I think we all have to accept that the flow of events this last while have been quite extraordinary. And that our own interests and ambitions are less important than the greater interest of the Liberal Party and the greater interest of the country. We must now all work constructively to make the changes in the party that we know need to happen.
And I'm joined now in the studio by Bob Rae. Mr. Rae, an eventful day, a big day for you, obviously. Can I ask you, when did you know that you'd have to bow out? When did you know that this just was not on your leadership, basically, that you made the decision to not contest the leadership?
This morning, because if the party had agreed to a real vote of the membership and to a period of time when we could recruit members and people could come into the party and there could be more open dialogue and more debates, if the party had agreed to that kind of a process, even in a very accelerated way, I would have stayed in the race. I think I would have had a reasonable chance at that point, because I think there's a great debate going on in the country about many issues, and I think I would have been a good spokesman on those issues. I think I had a lot of support for those issues, and I think there are a lot of people in the party who share my perspective on things, and certainly, I mean, I was in Winnipeg on Saturday. We had over 250 people out at a meeting, and a lot of enthusiasm in the group, a lot of keenness in the group. I came back to Toronto, went to a meeting in the Indo-Canadian community on Sunday night. A lot of interest, a lot of activity. So the answer is, it was a very fast decision. It was made because the party decided that they couldn't do couldn't do one person, one vote.
Some people have suggested that you then played the ultimate team player by accepting that structure and accepting the fact that that would basically mean also you wouldn't have any chance. You said as early as yesterday, and as you say, that reflects what the state of affairs was yesterday, that a coronation won't be good for the party. We're now going to have, in one way or another, what you might have called a coronation. Is that good for the party?
Well, I think the reality is that that's a decision that, in effect, the party executive made. And I think that we can all argue about that, but I don't think we have time to argue about it. And also, yeah, we could have had a big argument about it. I could have gone and held a press conference today and denounced the party and gone up and down the country and gone bananas and did whatever I wanted to do. I happen to think that would be very unhelpful. And at the end of the day, you might not win, you might not advance anything except for vented your spleen for a week. I don't need to do that. I've been at this business and cold-faced for too long to do that. So my own sense is that it's time for the party to come together. Michael is the leader, and we rally around the leader. That's what we do.
A lot of people are suggesting, though, that this is fodder for the Conservatives, that they can, if they want to, come at you hammer and tongs as a party and say you now have a leader, or you will within 24 hours, 48 hours, you'll have a new leader who has been chosen without a single vote being cast, without a single public debate being held, without a convention or any such thing. How will the party defend itself?
I think we all recognize we've been living in unusual times. Michael Ignatieff's not exactly an untested, unknown person who's suddenly been foisted on the party. He's a very experienced guy. He's not only appears all his experience before politics, but in politics he ran for the leadership, came in second, ran a really strong campaign for the leadership. The last time in 2006 has been a powerful figure in our caucus and in the House of Commons. Has been recognized as one of the great debaters and great speakers in the House. And has a tremendous following in the country. So I don't think it's not exactly, and the events are the events. I mean, we know we've had this economic statement, we have the vote of confidence not happening, we have the suspension of the House, we have, Mr. Dion's sudden resignation. All these things coming together make for unusual times.
The question you're being asked, because you're looking forward, you're looking ahead, the question everyone's asking is, where does this leave? We spoke on last Friday. You're obviously a strong proponent of the coalition and strong proponent of what the coalition might lead to, and that is a coalition government. Mr. Ignatieff was quoted on the weekend in 2 different occasions as saying that the coalition, if necessary, but not necessarily a coalition. He quoted Prime Minister Mackenzie King. And he was also quoted as saying that he considered the coalition more a means as opposed to necessarily an end to get changes, and that he would wait with interest and look at seriously the Conservative government's budget. You obviously, I don't know if you differ from that. You can't speak for Michael Ignatieff, but where does the coalition go now?
Well, you know, Mackenzie King said what he said, but we ended up with conscription. So the question is, you know, is the coalition necessary? And it depends what your objective is. If your objective is to find a new government and to replace Mr. Harper, then it is necessary. And we have to, you know, come to terms with what the options are for us. I think Michael is by nature a very prudent and cautious individual. He's somebody I think is going to find a balance, and he's got to listen to a lot of people who are concerned. This thing all happened very quickly, the coalition idea. It wasn't thoroughly debated in the party. It wasn't thoroughly debated in the leadership. It wasn't thoroughly debated in the caucus. So if Michael's saying, well, you know, we need to absorb what's happened, and there's been an awful lot that's happened in the last 3 weeks, and I think he's probably saying, give me a bit of time to sort of reflect on what's happened. I think that's a totally reasonable thing for somebody to say. You can't just pretend that there isn't a debate out there, or that you know public opinion isn't moving around. You've got to show, I think, some ability to listen to that.
Is that also then an argument for reconsidering the whole idea of the coalition?
I don't think so, because again, I come back to my first point, which is to say, you know, you have 3 choices. You leave Mr. Harper in, you have an election, or you have an alternative government. Those are the 3 choices that we have. There are no other choices, okay? I don't think that the Liberal Party, you know, I think the Liberal Party is going to reflect on, I don't think we want to precipitate an election. I don't think we want to leave Mr. Harper in forever, because he's shown his fangs, and I don't think he's shown very much remorse. I haven't seen him say, you know, I'm really sorry about some of the stuff that was in that economic statement. I wish I'd done it differently. I made a mistake. We're going to have to correct these things. That's not what he said. He's saying, I'm withdrawing this because I have to, not because he wants to. Constitutionally, you give Mr. Harper a vote of confidence, and everybody has to understand this. The longer he's there are very few other choices. Then he can go to the Governor General and say, I'm giving you my advice and you have to accept it. So I look at this thing as a very simple proposition.
The last question. This is the second time you've run for the leadership, or prepared to run for the leadership.
Are you rubbing it in, or was it...
No, whether it be a 3rd or a 4th or a 5th. But I mean, I guess the question is, you warned journalists at your press conference. You said, I'm not going to bleed all over the floor in front of you journalists, and you showed a lot of humor in that. But how... I'm going to ask the question, how does it feel? How are you feeling right now in terms of, in a word, how would you express the, I don't know, what must be a frustrating turn of events?
Yeah, of course it's frustrating, but I mean, it's a frustrating business. I mean, people say things to you which turn out to be untrue. You think something's going to go down a certain lane. It doesn't go down that lane. It goes somewhere else. On the other hand, I mean, politics brings out the best and the worst in people. You know, you have the best is because you have people who you don't expect and who come to you and say, I believe in you and I don't want anything from you and I think you should be the leader, and they support you all the way through. And you develop a loyalty and a friendship with people that you didn't expect, or that you find it's not there. And those are always precious moments. And you also find there are people who you thought were with you who aren't, or who say they're with you and then you see them with somebody else, and you realize that, you know, this is a business that, you know, Shakespeare writes about. It writes about all the highs and lows. And that's what it's like. I'm in the middle of it. I'm still in the arena. I'm still playing. I'm still here. And I'm going to keep on going. I mean, the one thing I've learned is that as long as you keep on going, you can always, you know, resilience is the key to this business. It really is.
I think you said in your press conference, it's politics, it's not the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world.
Okay.
No, that's certainly not the end of my world.
Okay, on that note, I want to thank you very much for coming in.